I feel like our hair looks really similar right now.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
It's given 2008. Welcome to a new episode of Noona Talk. I'm Zara.
And Sophia.
And before we get into all of that, this is a warning. These are long form episodes, so you need to strap in. Unfortunately, on if you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcast or any podcasting service, there is no way for you to know when you are meant to skip ahead because I don't know how to add chapters just yet. I don't even know if that's a feature. YouTube, however, if you're watching us here, there are chapters. So if you want to skip ahead or listen to our bands, you're very welcome to stay. No, I was just thinking because I listen to long form podcasts when I'm like working out or I'm running. Imagine like somebody could be listening to us while they're running.
I do that. I go on the treadmill and listen to Noona Talk because sometimes, because our time zones are different. So between 12 p.m. to whatever, 7 p.m. my time, I can't really call you up. So when I'm at the gym on the treadmill, I'm just listening to Noona Talk.
So it's just like a stopgap measure to getting my voice in your ears.
Yeah, it's like chatting with Zara.
For your commute, we're great for if you have a 40 to an hour long commute, we're there, we're with you. How have the last 2 weeks of your life been, Sophia? What have you been up to? What's going on?
I have just been hibernating, going to school occasionally, going to work occasionally, and hibernating even more because there are like snowstorms left, right, and center. Like today, the weather was supposed to be just -2, as opposed to yesterday's -30. But there was so much, it was like, I don't know how to explain it. It was raining snow. Like it was snow, but it was
Isn't
like
that just
hitting
called
you like
snowing?
rain. No, no, because snowing is like gentle, beautiful, like
Oh.
ooh, romantic K-drama vibes. This was like snow is
Hmm.
like coming at ya, like you better watch out.
What is the temperature right now?
It's -4.
That's not too bad. -4 is
Yeah,
pretty warm for you.
yeah, it's like summer, Loki. What about you? What have you been
It
up
does say snow is expected to start in 12 minutes. Oh, me, I've had, okay, not to sound over dramatic, but I have had the most devastating 2 weeks.
to? Mm-hmm.
Like it's been awful. It was just one bad thing after the other. But one of the worst things that happened is my favorite Korean restaurant shut down,
Oh
like
no.
completely shut down. It first went into renovation, then I kept waiting for news for it to come back. And to be fair, they were never good on their social media about these sort of things. So, and I've now
Shade.
moved further. Yeah, they've never been good at it. And then I moved further away, so it wasn't as in my periphery as it used to be. So I couldn't like go and just drop in. I did the other day, and not only like it's completely shut down, and they used to have like a bakery section which has been absorbed into another cafe, I believe. But that's not the same. Like, where am I going to
Mhm.
get the best fried chicken? The best. Like, there are, I know you suggested that there were other places, but it's just not the same. Like,
Yes.
I survived my entire pandemic, like, meals out. Like, this is a place where they did, like, we got this food delivered for my birthday a couple of years ago. Like, I love this place. I'm
Oh,
so disappointed.
oh my god, I just remembered. Remember when we decided that in case we ever get lost in the city and we have to meet each
Oh,
other
God,
without having to
yeah.
communicate with each other, we have what we decided that's gonna be the spot?
That was our home base.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's so
Now we
sad. I
don't have a
guess you
home
just have to,
base.
yeah, you have to find a new one. And that's an interesting question. Like, do you guys have this one Korean place restaurant in your city, which is just your go-to, like you can't live without? Because I do,
Love that.
and it has the best onion chicken. I don't know. It's like fried chicken with like creamy onion, and it just has the flavor of onion so well. I can't explain it, but like, chef kiss. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, keeping the
Also,
devastation train rolling. This is going to devolve into a bit of a rant, and I feel like this is. I want to say I don't want to say this is a personal issue because I'm hoping there are people who agree with me. But I've seen this extremely bizarre trend. Maybe it's not a trend. Maybe it's just like happening more often than not. Of desi brown women telling other brown women, "Don't think too much." Like exactly verbatim. This. Like I've
think
had
about
this
what?
commented. Anything. I've had this commented on my posts a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. I like literally last night somebody said this. I've seen it on other people's posts as well. Like, don't think too much about it. When did we become anti thinking? Honestly, like it's not the 30s. Like we're not supposed to worry our pretty little head with thoughts anymore. Like how strange. And the fact that it's women doing this to saying this to other women, it's so strange to me. And like yes, I agree that some things, it's not that deep. Like it doesn't need to be thought of more than that. Like if the color blue is the color blue, then that's kind of it. However, I mean, I'm absolutely going to contradict myself. I do think there is more to be thought about that, like the fact that everybody perceives the color blue differently. I think that's really interesting. But even so, like from simple things like I like this show to I like that skirt, for example, complex thoughts like why have we become anti-thinking? And then I tried to, be empathetic, and I was like, oh, maybe there's some metaphor or some saying in Hindi that's directly being translated to don't think too much about it, and it's not hitting the same. I don't know if such a saying exists. Like we're meant to think that, like that's the integral part of the human experience. And even if it's about things like movies and TV shows, like thinking is the best part. Like we are the audience at the end of the day. Like I've made enough TV to know that the audience's thoughts are what dictates what we make. So whether you like, dislike, why you like, dislike, whatever it is, like why is it so bad to think about things? I don't want to come off as an anarchist. Like that's not, I'm not like question everything, but just like it's not bad to question things. Okay, I do
Hmm.
sound like an anarchist.
On the other hand, people can come in my comments and tell me not to think too much because I already don't. I'm always like head empty, no thoughts. So I don't need your advice because I'm already doing
No.
it.
No, but that's what even Noona talk. Like I was just like, that's what we do here, where we are doing critical thinking. We are doing, I mean, some levels, but and we are doing original thought. We're not just like if somebody says, "Hey, this K drama is good," and we're like, "Agreed." That's not it.
Hmm.
Like, let's have a conversation.
Speaking of thoughts, there has been something going on.
Wait, is this the Jenny and Childish Gambino collab?
Great you bring that up because I was going to bring up another collab,
Okay.
which is the Hobie and Pharrell and Don Toliver collab called LV
I'm not,
Bag.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know who the third name is. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I don't know the third name. Wait, so it's Pharrell, Hobie, and all
Don
on one
Toliver.
song?
Yeah, so it's like Pharrell is producing it, Hobie is singing it,
Okay.
and Don Toliver is featuring on it, and it's called LV
Wait,
Bag. And
Hobie's
Pharrell,
singing, not rapping?
I don't know, he
Oh,
performing, whatever.
okay, okay, sorry.
And it apparently did got debut, like it got played during the Louis Vuitton fashion show, which in France, which
In
Hobie
France?
attended.
Whoa, that's so
And
cool.
yeah, I haven't heard it yet because I want to like keep the mystery. But I guess whenever it does release, would love to listen to it.
But do you think it's meant to be a proper song release, or is it just for, like, maybe for Louis Vuitton advertising? Like, do you think it'll be a part of his album at some point or released as a single, or will it just be used in videos of him holding an LV bag?
Yeah, I think it's a very personal project, but also like recession is here and people aren't spending as
Hmm.
much as on luxury goods. So yeah, LV needs to advertise.
That makes sense. And honestly, Hobie has been one of the greatest advertising like celebrities for Louis Vuitton in a couple of years. Literally, my first Louis Vuitton bag I bought matching with Hobie because of one Instagram story, and I liked it so much that I screenshot it and like I was like, I want this one. I don't know what it's called, but I want it, and then I got it because of
Wow.
him. Going back to the Childish Gambino and Jenny collab, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I think, yeah, I'm very intrigued because I did like the Jenny and Zico collab, and I don't,
Mm.
and I do listen to like, I know the Idol was controversial and we don't really love The Weeknd anymore, but I really like the song that Jenny, Lily Rose Depp, and Weeknd had on the Idol.
Okay.
So yeah, let's see what
I
happens
really
with
enjoy
this one.
Childish Gambino as an actor. I haven't like loved his music, but that's again very well established. I don't keep up with the hip hoppers. I still think it's very interesting, and I feel like they have very different sounds. So I don't know what they them together would sound like. So I'm very
But I
curious.
feel like both of them are equally diverse. Like Childish Gambino also has like it does anything, right? Like it's not really hip
Hmm.
hop hardcore. Like it's so diverse.
Hmm.
And I think Jenny's like as a singer, you can kind of lend your voice to anything. And she has this like raspy, ethereal kind of voice, which can kind of fit in very different Sounds. So let's see where things go. Okay, so Jenny just announced like her first solo album called Ruby, and I mean the
Oh,
visuals look crazy. She's got like bangs, she's got like fire red hair or ruby red hair. Hey, maybe that's what the Childish Gambino thing is. Also, featuring Doichi.
oh my
Okay,
God, I love Dochi.
featuring Childish Gambino, Doichi, Dominic Fike, FKJ, Kali Uchis, Dua Lipa.
Whoa.
Whoa. March 7th. Okay, wow. Look forward to that reaction. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm already ready because this album, just based on the features, sound amazing. Ruby is really interesting. I don't know. Is that some reference to
It's
her
her middle
birthstone?
name.
Because I
She's
Oh, of course, it's on her Instagram as well. I have talked about this in the past where I don't like it when artists name their albums on their name, but at least middle name is a nice change. I do
yeah.
like that's something. But yeah, yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. Also in other Blackpink news, Rose is the newest brand ambassador for Skims, and she has this like cute heart-shaped collection out, which is like super cute.
Oh, for Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah. Go
And it makes
Blackpink
sense because a lot
girlies.
of yeah, I swear. But also it makes sense with her album. A lot of like the thing was very not romance heavy, but it that was the undertone throughout. Like number one girl had a lot of like love and heartbreak. So like hearts motifs make sense.
Hmm.
That's a clever way. Oh, I want to look at this collection.
Yeah, it's like very kawaii.
But yeah, March is going to be crazy because I believe Hobie's album or whatever the new music is meant to come out is supposed to be in March. Jenny is in March. Lisa's by the end of Feb.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots of big music coming out.
But talking about big music that's already come out.
Let's get to the most important thing. We've already talked about this in our previous episode, which was a K drama or K flop on Squid Game season 2. Go watch it if you haven't already. But the reunion of all reunions has happened. The songs have been dropped. GOT7 is back. Woo! They just released after this is after 2 years, or is it 3 years? I could be wrong. They
A
have
while.
yeah, after their contract ended with JYP, all of them went their separate ways. They are still under separate management, but have come together with a partnership with Kakao to release this album and do their concert in Seoul.
As someone who does a lot of group projects with people who work for in different companies, I understand how hard it is to find time to even have one meeting. So the fact that they could do all of this is insane.
Yeah, the album is called Winter Heptagon. I think was a very interesting thing to name because A, it is a winter release. They are 7 members. However, if you have looked at the album cover, it's this like prism light effect, which is really cool. Also, really similar to the last TXT album, Sanctuary. Very similar prism effect. Maybe that's the trend right now. But if you count the number of like points coming out of the heptagon, not the heptagon, the light burst, there are 8.
Hmm.
Now, I thought maybe the eighth point is for like Ahgases and it's supposed to be like, oh, we love our fans. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Are there theories about this? Has anybody sat and counted the points, or am I just like have no time, have too much time on my hands?
Speaking of people who have too much time on their hands, I went and read all of the credits of this song and of this album. And it's so interesting because each song has like one of the members on it. Like, so it's kind of like each song, there are 9 songs in total,
Hmm.
and each song is by a different member, like, and their team, I
Except
guess.
one of them. One of them has
So
nobody on it. I think it's Darling.
no, so it's Def. Def is JB's like,
Oh, it is
um,
JB's name. Oh,
yeah. So JB
sorry.
has 2 songs, and yeah, I
Hmm.
think Bam Bam is also on 2 songs, and the rest of them, like, there's
Hmm.
a Jackson song, there's a Young J song, but he goes by Ars, which is his artist name.
Right.
There's Yugyum, Mark.
And
So yeah,
yours truly, which is the last song, was written by all of them.
yeah, and produced by Def, which is JB.
JB. Love that. Okay. How, okay, we'll start going track by track. We'll discuss what our thoughts were, what we felt about it. And at the end, do like an album wrap and final thoughts, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
And pick out our
sounds
fave. I feel like that's the important question.
good for sure.
What is your favorite GOT7 song overall?
Okay, I love Not by the Moon. I love that song. I love the outfits. I love the voices. Like, I think they have like really good voices, and I think Jin Young's voice just stands out so much for me in all their songs. What about
Very
you? What's your
true.
favorite song?
I love Thursday, and I think I listen to it every week on Thursday. And, and I think at this point, YouTube has recognized that as a pattern. YouTube Music has recognized that as my pattern. So it does tend to recommend that around every
Mhm.
Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, Thursday by GOT7 shows up. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. I really enjoyed it. I actually don't even know what album it's from, but I really
It's
like
from
it.
You Calling My Name. That was their last album.
It's from
No,
you. Okay, great.
not their last album again. This was like their pre-COVID album. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But you're right about Jin Young's voice, and I think it's only not matured, but like gotten more rich over time. If
Hmm.
you go back to our MV reacts, we have a playlist as well on our channel. We have reacted to Mark and Jackson and Jin Young's releases. We've also done Bam Bam. Okay, we've done 4 members out of the 7 releases over the last couple of years, and I think we walked away with like positive reviews for all of them.
Hmm. Mostly.
Yeah, we didn't react to this, but even Yugyam's last album, I genuinely really thought that was very good. I thought it was a great example of how he's grown as an artist. Okay, but let's
Let's
get
get into it.
into the first track, Python, which is also the title track, which also has an MV and
Hmm.
was written by Bam Bam. I think it's always really interesting when the title track is the first listing on the album, because usually you want to start, I don't know, like how you build an album. I think everybody has different opinions, but to start with your title track feels like a power move. It really does. It's like one of those like things where after that the everything has to measure up to it.
Hmm.
So that's a strong thing. It I could be wrong, I haven't checked the lyrics, but it felt like it was all English.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
true.
sure.
It was. It was. Yeah.
Okay, the
Okay, makes
Python
sense. I was like,
metaphor.
wow, I understand all of it. My Korean must be great.
Yeah, it's just gotten so good now. The Python metaphor, I was a little not confused is not the right word, but like I was like,
They were very clear
because
about the metaphor, just saying.
no, because famously Python is pythons or snakes or all of that are metaphors for, how do I say this so that we don't get demonetized? Um, Genitalia for a
Oh,
specific gender.
that's what you were
Yeah,
thinking. But
my
like we,
anaconda don't.
yeah, but we're desi people. Like Nagin is in our culture.
Nagin, but not Saap.
The metaphor is they got a hold like a python because the python's
No,
known for like
I
just.
I agree. I like I'm not disagreeing with what they said. I'm just like not traditionally, but like famously that's what it is. So to have it be used as a different, I definitely when I heard the title, the track list drop and it said Python, I was like, oh,
Like Megan the Stallion has this whole like Cobra snake series where it's all about like people being snakes. So like clearly there's like diversity in
okay.
the
So
interpretation.
maybe I think my only reference then is my anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hun. I'm really curious. Is this song about JYP?
Okay.
Is the toxic
Man, I just thought
relationship
this
and
was a
holding
love
on
song.
too tight? I don't know. Like it could be a love song, and I think that's like open to interpretation. But toxic relationship with someone holding on too tight and not letting go like a python. I thought it was about JYP.
Really? Because they left JYP like that. Like they did not hesitate. As a song, like I really liked it. I just really like it was just very well put together. Chorus was really good, and Jin Young singing, Bam Bam's voice, like all of that.
Mm.
Like I loved all of the layers in it. One thing I did kind of have a complaint about was that I don't know, maybe it was my Spotify, I can't even tell, but at least from my Spotify, the mixing, the instrumentals were as loud as the voices, and it was like kind of fighting for attention. Like there wasn't like depth. Again, this could just be my Spotify, but it
It
was just
could
like I
be
want
because I
to
don't know if
hear.
I felt that.
Okay, because like I wanted to hear their voices more, but to me the sound was as, and the sound was really nice, like the kind of bubble. I don't know, it was just like a really cool, laid
It
back
to me it felt
instrumental
really like this could be in a Drake album.
from
Like
like
it felt like
2014. Yeah,
yeah, like an older Drake album, but it felt very that. Let's go on to the next song, Smooth.
go
I
on.
thought it was very good. I loved the high notes. I thought the harmonizing of the high notes was fantastically done. However, Jackson. Oh, Jackson wrote the song, which is
Yeah.
great, but at a lower like billing. So I don't know how much of a contribution he had in like terms of lyrics or composition. But I do not like when the entire chorus is the same word being repeated in different ways. Like I get it for some parts, like,
Mm.
but that was all it was. And I feel like the last maybe 30 seconds of the song was just them saying smooth.
I mean, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy the smooth part as well, and I liked how like upbeat and lively it was. Honestly, at this point, this was giving me like summer album. I'm like, what is it doing in the middle of January? Please release this in April
Winter,
so I can
yeah.
like just have fun with it. Yeah, it was just very like nice, light, chill, and
Next is Our Youth. For me, like out of the entirety of the album, this felt the most sort of true to what I think of GOT7 music. Again, I could be very wrong, but this felt like it is the first Korean song on the album, because both Python and Smooth were not completely but heavily in English, and Our Youth had a
mostly.
lot of that. And like the bridge was fantastic. Like I really enjoyed. I went back and like listened to that a couple of times. I loved the bridge for Are You.
It gave me very like K drama, like falling in love kind of a vibe. But still, we're still in summer, and I think this is very important because this was like by the third song, I was just like, okay, wrong timing for the song, but it was just like so nice and fresh, if that's the right word.
Yeah, I'm tired of this obsession over youth. I feel like this is something I've said before as well in other like reviews that we've done. Like tonight is the night and we must hold on to our youth. Like it's okay. Most of them are in their 30s now or like late 20s. You're all still young. Like we're not close to middle aged yet. Let's all calm down. And I get like artists have very like limited time to keep their fame. Especially the K-pop industry feels very like garnered towards younger people, and maybe that's why they feel so strongly about this. But as an audience member, I'm G, I'll listen to you until you're like 50 or even after. Remember, written by Yukyum, which was such a lovely thing. I was very excited to see him have like really top billing on a song. I didn't like the song very much. I felt like it was an interesting beat, but
Mm-hmm.
it stayed consistent throughout. Like there was no switch up in the beat. So at no
Mm-hmm.
point was there a dynamic point where I was like, oh, okay, yeah, now we the song has become a has introduced a new element. There was nothing. Like it was just the same static bass beat. Like vocals did a lot. There were a great change up in the vocals, but I don't know if I can truly enjoy the bass beat being consistent that much.
Okay, when this song came on, I was like, okay, now we're like switching up because it's like super R&B, which is why I
Hmm.
guess, and I think this is like a standard Korean R&B thing. I think Western R&B has really evolved, but like Korean R&B music is still a little like 5 years ago. And yeah, so that's why I think the beat was like kind of stagnant, but I liked it. Like I like the vocals were really smooth and it was nice, and it was a nice switch up, I think, in the album where you're like, okay, there's something more,
Hmm.
because at this point it was a very specific tone, and this is like mood change.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's like a halfway point where then the tone of the songs then do change. You're right. I didn't think of that. Okay, next. Darling. 17 have the song with the same name. Is
Yeah.
Darling the new like monster? I thought it was a cute song. I thought this felt like a song that they wrote keeping performance in mind. Like this
Mm-hmm.
would be a fun middle of the concert, mid number where you don't necessarily dance, but you get to walk around and maybe have face to face interactions with your fans. I thought that it was written with that intent and sweet
Mm-hmm.
lyrics. There's a person on here on the writing credits who's called iHawk, and I thought that was great because one of my friends partner's brother is a DJ and his stage name is also Hawk. He's a fantastic DJ. Go look him up. Literally one of the best nights I've had in a very long time. But yeah, I was like, Hawk is a very interesting name to choose for music.
iHawk is a regular JB collaborator, if I'm not wrong. And like I heard the song and it just like felt very JB, I'm not gonna lie. Like it felt
Makes
very
sense since
like,
he did write it.
yeah, and very like classic K-pop. I feel like there was like something very nostalgic, not like not like a sad nostalgia, but like
Hmm.
a nostalgic classic K-pop sound and a very
Like
GOT7
generation,
sound.
like third gen K-pop music.
Yeah, yeah, like this. I am in 2017, 18, like, that kind of vibe is back. And I mean, a lot of
Hmm.
this album gave me that. We didn't have any like construction noises, and like respect you if you like that, but like it's not really like old. So it was
It's
really
not old,
nice.
but like it's not a new take on something old either.
Yeah, yeah, it's very classic.
Tidal Wave, written by Bam Bam. I loved the metaphor. I thought that was really new. I feel like I haven't heard "you took over me like a tidal wave." It's such an obvious metaphor, but I feel like I've not heard that very much, and I really enjoyed that. However, I felt like there were too many references to kryptonite. Like it came up in every second line. Okay, we get it. You're a Superman fan, clearly.
Again, this was like very Bam Bam. This reminded me of his what was that one song he made?
Ribbon.
Yeah, it was so Ribbon, and I really like Ribbon, and I
Mm,
feel like, but
I
it also
love
had
Ribbon.
some like element of like 2000s music.
I can see that.
Yeah,
That's
like it's
classic. Okay, 2017 is not classic yet.
yeah, like early 2000s. It was just it was interesting. It was like fun, light, but we're like still not completely. We're not in summer still, but it was just like fun, light, and very like nice. Bam, bam. Like you could
So maybe not summer, but spring.
no, like we're going into fall
Okay, okay,
because this
okay.
metaphor is important
I
to
thought
continue.
it was one of the best written songs, other
Hmm.
than the Kryptonite. But I do think this was one of the best written songs in the entire album. Next, Out the Door, which was Mark Twain's, and honestly, if you didn't tell me it was Mark, I would have still guessed it was Mark. Like this was so American indie artist. Like I was expecting a grainy CPR toned MV to go along with this. This is again like go back and listen to our MV reaction for his first single that he released as a solo artist. It is exactly what he has. Like that is his theme. It felt
Hmm.
very Mark.
And this is like I think even more 2000s. This was giving yeah, like
Yeah.
the sepia tone for sure.
But like
Um
not in a bad way.
yeah,
Like the indie artist thing, like it felt like I've
like
written this
uplifting.
about, sorry, it's about a different song. I've written this, sorry, ignore that. Okay, not this. But the next song, wait, which is Her, which had Jin Young as a writer. This is something I've written that felt the most referential out of all the songs, where the
Hmm.
classical guitar felt very Bon Iver or Hosier, but the vocals
Hmm.
were something that honestly, and these are very polar apart artists, but either Ed Sheeran or Sum 41. Like there was something about the vocals that felt very like
In fact, I got
I
more
don't
Sum
know.
41 vibes from the Mark Twain song because it was like kind of pop punk ish.
It was very pop punk, but I don't know. There was something about
The
the
vocals, no, I know
slow.
what you're talking about. The angst.
Yeah, maybe it was the Angs.
Hmm.
Maybe. And did say this that it was lo-fi for pre-chorus, but then it went heavy pop punk in theme, which I don't think that's bad at all. I thought this was very interesting. And
Yeah.
honestly, I see this potentially working really well as a K-drama OST.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it worked really well because okay, it might work well with the K-drama OST. Usually K-drama OSTs are a little like bland, and I feel like this, while being mellow and sweet, was also upbeat in a weird way. Like it didn't
Hmm.
fall. It wasn't like too mellow, too like it was very rich and like the layering and everything. It was like really well made. While referential, I think it was a
Yeah, the
beautifully made
referential thing
song.
is not a bad thing at all.
Hmm.
It was just very interesting where you could see influences or where they may have pulled aspects to like Frankenstein this song together and make
Hmm.
something that's very unique given the K-pop landscape that we have today.
And it's also for me, it was interesting because while I love Jin Young's voice, I've never really like leaned towards his personal music style as much. This made me feel like, okay, maybe I should like look into more of his solo music.
Last song and written by all of them called Yours Truly.
Which is like
Again,
Ahgase
this
dedication.
yeah, oof, oof. I enjoy God 7 as a casual listener, but if I was anything deeper into this, the way I would have been weeping at this song, like this is meant for that. This, I wrote this literally in my notes. I was like, this was written to close out their concert. This is the bye bye. waving while people are crying song. There is one element that I didn't particularly care for. It was a really soulful piano track, but I felt
Mm-hmm.
like that neither added nor took anything away from the song. It was just there, and I felt like it didn't do anything.
Going back to my seasons metaphor, I think the last two songs were kind of like fall, and this is like the winter. Like it was like I think the last song really set the stage for yours truly, and then it's like full on like tears, drama, like
Mm.
regret. I loved you because at the end of the day, on the surface of it, this is like a love album. Like it's all like I think different types of love. Like you're kind of captured in this love. You're like yearning for the love. You're thinking about the love that you left back, and now we're kind of
Hmm.
like this is like I'm forever yours kind of a love. And whether it's a metaphor for fans, whether it's like a personal journey, whether it's like a dedication to each other that they have,
Oh, I
I
didn't think
think
of
this,
that. That's so cute.
yeah, but I feel like it kind of really brings it all together. And I think just, I loved, I mean, we might discuss it later as well. I won't get into the song. I think fan songs kind of have a very typical trope vibe. I don't know. I respect it obviously, and like super emotional. If I was a Gase, I would also be in tears, but I'm not. So I'm just like,
Hmm.
oh, cute, but
Hmm.
not something I'd go back to. But it's
Of
not for
course.
me, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
This
But
is
I
for like
think,
sad reel edits.
hmm, of like debut GOT7 to current GOT7, like
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But having said that, like the yours truly thing, when it's so evidently written for concert, it does make me really curious about the concert set list. Given that they are not a part of JYP anymore, do they still have some ownership over their discography? Can they play any music, or does it have to be Winter Heptagon and like their other release solos? Like I'm very curious because again, we don't know what their contract entailed and what their departure entailed in terms of like copyright and
Hmm.
all of that. I'm very curious.
But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I know Jin Young like worked really hard, and this was a whole thing to like get a lot of the rights from JYP, including the name to retain GOT7 the name. But maybe it translates into music as well. I guess we'll find out, or even maybe a licensing thing where they have to split royalties, but they still get to perform.
So I assumed that the royalty thing would be there, which is why then I was all the more curious that it's under Kakao and there is no mention of JYP. Like they're not mentioned on a poster or anything. So is it a back end deal in that case? Yeah, so I was like two questions before we get into overall album thoughts. One, first, okay, are you ready? What was your favorite track?
Okay. My favorite track was Her for sure.
Oh, okay. Oh, mine was Out the Door. I like loved it. I felt like this could have been an All American Reject song. I really enjoyed it. Or like a Jimmy Eat World song. Like I loved it. I really enjoyed it. Okay. Second and very important question. Yes, we enjoyed the album, but do you think you would have enjoyed the album as much as you did if it wasn't this like dramatically wonderful reunion of GOT7? Like if this was just a regular release, would you have enjoyed this album as much?
Yes, because I think good music is good music, and personally, like I wouldn't give it any accolades, no matter what the context is, if I didn't enjoy listening to it. And honestly, it's very hard for me to listen to a lot of K-pop albums because they're just like sometimes
Not
all
good.
the focus is on title tracks and B sides are not it. But this was so cohesive, like a great body of work. And what about
No,
you?
I don't
Okay.
think so. I feel like I love it because it is GOT7 coming back together. But if it was released if anybody else also released this, like I would enjoy listening it the one time that I have, and I'd probably not go back to it. I'd be like, yeah, it was a solid album, and that's kind of where it would pause. If it came up in a playlist or on like autoplay at some point, I wouldn't like skip it immediately or anything. But it's not it wouldn't have gotten added to a playlist, which it now definitely has. But a lot of that I feel like is association of memory and thought and all of that. Okay, that was our thoughts on the GOT7 album, Winter Heptagon. Did you like the album? Are you excited? Are you going for the concert? Also, like concert set, I'm still like on the set list. I'm like, what's going on? I'm so curious. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about the album. We will be back in exactly 2 weeks with a brand new episode. This one, we try to do like a K-pop K-drama cycle. This is about K-dramas, but like it's gonna be different. I'm really excited.
All right, then we will be back in 2 weeks with another exciting episode. Till then, you can miss us and check out the rest of our episodes, the rest of our album reviews, because we have like hundreds and thousands of them. And if you want, if there's something that's coming out and you want our opinions on it, or if something we've missed in the past, let us know in the comments or head to our Instagram at NoonaTalk.
I was Zara.
And I was Sophia.
Mhm.